Hey everybody, Livingston here. Another Twilight Zone is on the way, and we're jumping into Season 2, Episode 12, Dust. Came out January 5th, 1961. It's a new year, and it's another episode I haven't sat down and watched before. But before we get started, let's jump into the comments section and see what you had to say about last week's episode. Snow Deerling says, I had no idea John Fielder, Mr. Dundee, was the original voice of Piglet. He's also juror number 2 in 12 Angry Men and the mailman for the Munsters. Speaking of 12 Angry Men, when we watched the entire Twilight Zone last year, we were thrilled to see some of the jurors star in these episodes. Not all 12 jurors have guest roles, but some, like Jack Klugman, appear in multiple episodes. Yeah, I do remember seeing Jack Klugman. He did show up in Season 1, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he has coming up later on, because I'm actually a big fan of Klugman. And weird thing is, I haven't actually sat down and watched 12 Angry Men, which I need to do maybe sometime for the channel. I hear how great it is, and I just haven't had a chance to, I guess, at some point in my life. But that is on the list, and I will do it for you, and see how that movie is. I hear wonderful things. It's like rated one of the best movies of all time, I think. But Robert Jewell 9727 says, my good friend Paul LaMatte was in the TV movie you mentioned, The Night They Saved Christmas, which honestly is not very good, even though it had some talented folk involved. And Paul said he had a very few scenes with Art Carney, but said he was a consummate professional. I've always thought Carney a superb actor and made this episode really work. Rod somehow had tremendous instinct to cast him as a broken down Santa to be. I agree. Carney did a wonderful job as Santa Claus, and you really felt how torn up he was with life and where he was and his drinking. He knew it was wrong. He knew he wasn't happy with where he was in life, and he just would either get drunk and stay drunk or be sad about it and cry, and he didn't want to cry, but he did a lot of it in this episode. Otakichi786, sorry if I slaughtered that name. I saw The Night of the Meek in real time back in the day. Its uplifting message had stayed with me over the years. The 1985 In Living Color version kept the tempo and message with Richard Mulligan as Henry Corwin, who is a plus. I'm enough of a Twilight Zone fan to have bought Mark Scott Zerkery book, The Twilight Zone Companion. Oh, okay, well, I didn't even know there was a Twilight Zone Companion, but I'm pretty sure there is. I mean, it's such a big show. But I'm looking forward to seeing that they're going to actually have another episode in 1980s that is a lot like this episode here, like a remake, which they've done several times in the Twilight Zone eras, dating back from when the show started all the way to where we are now. And we're probably going to, actually not revisit, we're probably going to visit these episodes in the 80s. And I knew there was one that came out in the 2000s, early 2000s, because I watched a few of them back in the day when it was actually airing. And I know there was the Jordan Peele one that came out recently. I don't know if it's still going, but I know they released a couple seasons. So we're going to keep on trucking after we hit 156 of the original Twilight Zone and see what the other ones are all about too. Why not? Charlie Eckhart 4321 says, this one is certainly in my top 5. Well, I got to say, it's a really good one. It might be in my top 5 of Season 2. I'm not sure if it's going to be in my top 5 for the entire show, but we still have a lot of episodes to get through. James Drynan says, although I think this episode suffered by being videotaped, I thoroughly enjoyed this fable. Carney was delightful as the rummy-turned Santa with a wonderful supporting cast. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Concur very wholeheartedly. Carney did a wonderful job in this show. Brian Morger, 2174, says, Burt Mustin appeared in the Brady Bunch. The episode that Bobby thought Jesse James was a good guy, but played an old-timer who visited the Brady home and told Bobby Jesse James was a cold-blooded killer. Shot my daddy in the back. I probably watched the episode. Brady Bunch was something that I watched a lot of when I was a kid. Of course, the reruns, I wasn't around when they actually came out with the Brady Bunch back in the day. I think it was in, the 60s, 70s? I want to say 70s. I might have watched it, not sure. It might be interesting to actually go back and look him up in that particular episode. But thanks for throwing out that comment there. Ron Botello, 8513, says, Night of the Meek, my favorite episode. They don't make TV like this anymore. Everything now is sexual, drugs, and violence. Trash TV. I wouldn't say everything is now sexual and drug-related with violence. I mean, there are a lot of things with violence, grant you that. But there are some shows out there that are nothing involving sex, drugs, and violence. I think one of the most recent ones I can think of is Ted Lasso. I think that's a very good-hearted show. There might be a cuss word here and there, but I really can't think of one. I mean, it's such a really positive, uplifting show. So if you haven't seen that one, I implore you, go and check that one out. I think it's on Apple TV. Then we have Bloody Locks Bathory says, the film with Garbage Day was Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I rather liked the first film, but most of the sequel I found forgettable except for that scene. What a great episode. Art Carney's performance is heartbreaking. The depiction of the elf at the end is a bit corny, but otherwise it's a good ending. Yeah, it's a happy-go-lucky ending for Christmas. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with that. And plus the guy, he needed some kind of something at the end. I mean, I didn't want him to be down on the dumps, but for him to actually become Santa Claus, I mean, it's a heck of a dream to come true, you know? But Garbage Day, yeah, I mentioned that on the last episode because somebody had the name Garbage Day. That was their profile name. And I was reading one of their comments off, and I couldn't think of the name. So thank you very much for telling me the name of that movie. It was really bothering me last week when I couldn't think of it. But let's jump into the episode and see what we're getting into.
The Twilight Zone. There was a village built of crumbling clay and rotting wood, where the faithless, the hopeless, the misery-laden, they began to destroy themselves.
Oh, we got him right off the bat. Usually we don't get him until a few minutes into the episode.
Peter Sykes!
I've seen him before. That's Thomas Gomez.
Young Mr. Gallegos, I believe. And this is a very special day, isn't it?
Why?
Today, you're gonna get hanged!
What a great day.
Today, young Mr. Gallegos, killer of children, dances on the gallows!
Killer of children. Now, did he actually kill children, or was he being set up for it?
Don't need any more rope, do you? You ought to see the fancy 5-strand hemp I sold the town for your party, Gallegos. It could lift 5 of you.
I'd like you to take your fat carcass and your loud mouth out into the open air. This is a small room, and it's a hot time of the morning.
Yeah, everyone looks sweaty and wet.
What would your pleasure be? You better go to the window and watch. They're going to be burying the little girl that you mangled under your wagon.
Did he mean to do that, though?
You got stinking drunk and you raced your wagon down that street. Gallegos.
I'm not liking this guy.
You'll be able to kick and kick and kick.
I mean, he's kicking the guy while he's down. I get he killed a kid, but at the same time, he looks like he kind of regrets it, unless he's just not too thrilled with the fact that he's about to hang.
You talk big behind a badge, Koch.
Just sounds big to you because you're a midget, Sykes.
But you're mighty tight-lipped when it comes to one of your own.
You're not my own, Sykes, so don't claim any kinship. That's for that boy in there. He had his trial, and today he's going to swing for it. There's nothing in his sentence that says he's got to be tormented by a pig who sells trinkets at funerals. Go on, Sykes, get out of here.
Take your booze with you. Need a little more information about the guy who killed the little girl.
When this day is over, which one will you weep for, Koch?
I have tears enough for both.
Yeah, why can't you feel sorry for both people? We really need to clean up this town. It's very small, but, I mean, look at all the crap in the road. Now, this is an episode where I don't know where it's going, and I enjoy those episodes.
I'm real sorry about this. My condolences to you. Yes, sir, we're going to string up the dirty little animal that done this. We'll string up that mangler of little children. It's the last thing we do.
Yeah, they don't want to hear you, Dan. They're burying their daughter. I hope the twist is this guy gets something coming to him.
Some other time you act like a man with no brains, but now you keep quiet.
Gallegos' old man shows his face in town in broad daylight. Somebody ought to take a horsewhip to that.
Yeah, keep your words to yourself from now on, man.
My father wishes for me to tell you that his heart is broken. If he could give
his own life in return.
own life in return, he would.
But we're burying our daughter today.
Yeah?
My son did not mean to do it.
Oh, it's his son.
Oh, Larry, he's a lover of children.
Hey, padre, por favor, váyase a la casa. No se le necesita aquí.
Yeah, stop making a hustle.
Father, take Estrellita home. He will hurt you if you stay here.
We'll see you in the afterlife.
My lucky coin. It is said one can make a wish on it.
Luis is right. You'll do no good here.
You never been drunk, Mr. Sheriff?
It's the same argument you can give to a drunk driver, I guess, but responsible thing to do is don't drink and drive. Or in this case, operate a horse and buggy.
He drank too much.
Yeah.
And he had a sadness deep inside that there was not enough to eat. He did not see the little girl for an instant.
Acting's pretty good. He's doing a really good job playing the sad father. Definitely understand the situation and his point of view.
I won't hurt you, don't be afraid. You go tell your papa that I have a magic dust
Ooh.
that turns hate to love.
Name of the episode.
Very expensive. To bring 100 pesos in 1 hour.
100?
You understand, eh? You tell your papa, comprende?
He seemed so happy about seeing a man hang, and now he's trying to swindle. I guess he's trying to swindle his way for some money that probably doesn't exist. But maybe it does. I don't know. Yeah, definitely not a fan of this guy.
100 pesos of worth of magic dust.
Prediction. The dust actually works. And the magic probably lies within the people who are making the wish and not the dust itself.
When was it God made people? Was it the 6th day? He should have stopped on the 5th.
We must go out and find something else to hate.
Definitely not a place I'd want to be.
It isn't a carnival, Rogers. It's a hanging.
You mean the kids? They ain't never seen a hanging. They'll learn a lesson. They'll see what happens to drunks that kill kids.
It's not like he meant to, though. It was an accident.
Get down and stay together.
Yeah, that little boy there, I don't think I'd want him to see anybody hang. I try to keep their innocence as long as possible.
Is that the man they're gonna put the rope on?
I'm the man.
Come on, boy. Get ready, Luis. It's about that time.
Hooray!
Let's get it over with. Yeah, you should have done that in the jail.
Oh, come on. It's his last moments.
Come on, Sheriff, do your duty.
Would you like some dust? I do not like this guy. One of those things in the Twilight Zone where the ones that are the meanest are the ones that really need to bite it.
A little bit of this sprinkled over the heads of the crowd will make them feel sympathy for your son. Magic, you know.
I hope it works for him.
Gold pieces.
All my friends went into the city. One sold a wagon, another sold a horse. We got many pesos and we converted them. It will work, Mr. Sykes.
Yes.
You sold the rope to hang my son. Now you sell me that which will save him.
Businessman, Mr. Gallegos,
Trying to make a buck. Or back then, 10 cents. Whatever the prices were back then. Here you go. I bet the joke is going to be on him at the end of this. Really want to kick that smile off of his face.
Luis! I'm coming, my son! I'm coming!
Just throw some in the air over their heads, and then watch the magic. Yeah, that's right. Then watch the magic.
Come on, string him up. We waited long enough.
Come on, Sheriff, let's not stall.
Yeah, get on with it. We gotta eat dinner soon.
Wait! Wait! You must stop all of this and pay heed to the magic. Magic! You must pay.
Well, it's not working.
Come on, Sheriff, spring that trap.
Well, the dust isn't really working unless it's a time release.
The magic is for love. The magic it is for love. No!
Okay, what happened? He seems surprised. The rope broke? And he landed on the bottom. Alright, show's over.
But it was a new rope. 5-strand hemp. Nobody could have broken it. It couldn't have gotten broken.
Well, it did.
What about it, Mr. Canfield?
You cannot try to defeat the magic.
Let's try it again.
Oh, okay.
2 people here who have the right to ask for an eye for an eye.
Do you really want to do this? Well, they seem, or at least the father looks like he does.
No more today, John. No more.
Do what the wife says.
Killed our child.
But not on purpose.
Part of himself while doing it. And he suffered enough.
Sheriff Koch, there must be another hand in all of this for the rope to break like that.
Like God?
Maybe the hand of Providence.
Rhode Island? All right. We made the sheriff's day.
John?
One victim is enough.
Just calling him a victim.
I think we should all go home now.
So are they setting him free? Is he good to go? He can go home with Pop? Well, they got lucky.
I'm free.
You can go home now. You have that much freedom.
Thanks.
It was magic. Magic dust. It brought back love to the people.
Well, look at that. You know, I knew it was going to work.
Please, let's go home now.
Well, this guy isn't going to have anything dealt to him, but definitely not a good character. Maybe he'll start believing in things or hoping for more miracles in life. I don't know. Is he going to give some to the kids? Well, that's nice of him.
Go ahead. Take them. They're yours.
Thanks, sir.
Don't understand. Why? It must be magic.
Maybe the guy just gets a kick out of life.
And of little historical consequence. In any search for sorcery, witchery, legerdemain, first check the human heart. For inside this deep place is a wizardry that costs far more than a few pieces of gold. Tonight's case in point in the Twilight Zone.
That was good. I enjoyed that. Well, that's the end of Season 2, Episode 12, Dust. I enjoyed that episode. It had a little bit of like a moral to the story sort of thing to it. There was a bit of redemption, there was a bit of revenge, and there was also forgiveness at the very end of it all. I mean, was there magic? Was it a miracle? Who knows? But this is what the episode was all about. It was about this moment in time, about this guy getting ready to die because of him killing this kid accidentally. It wasn't like he meant to do it, and the parents actually decided to forgive them, and the father was very much into the magic, and then you had that one guy walking around making money off of everybody's despair in a way. So, I mean, at the very end, though, he had a bit of that redemption with throwing out the coins to the kids and kind of giving back from what he took. And in the end, it's just one of those things. It's worth believing in possibilities of miracles. And in this episode, nobody actually had a grim fate other than the girl that was killed at before the beginning of the episode when it all transpired. But we never met the character, and everybody who was involved seemed like they were decent people. There wasn't anybody who was bad or, had any animosity towards anybody. I mean, I'm talking about the guy who was in the jail cell. Of course, the town wanted to see him hang. Of course, we all understand why, because he killed a child. But when you actually stand back and look at it from a different perspective, you understand that the guy isn't really a bad guy. He just had a bad night. He also was drinking and driving. I guess the earliest form of it, basically riding a horse and buggy. But it was a good episode, and it makes you think. And I like those episodes. But let's jump into some trivia and see what it took to get this episode off the ground. The hollow-backed horse in the foreground beside the jail had a condition of a malformed vertebrae and weakness in the soft tissues that allowed the spine to sag, called lordosis. That's interesting. The little boy who talks to Lewis through the bars of the jail window was played by Doug Hayes Jr., who was the son of the director of this episode. Oh, that's cool. John A. Alonzo and Vladimir Sokolov were both in Magnificent Seven, 1960. Wow. All right. Well, that's all they had for trivia on this episode. Let me know, comment below what you thought of this, and I will read your comments in next week's episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join us on our mission to get to episode 156 of The Twilight Zone. And until next time, see you later.